So right now I am overhauling the R-Spec Retaliator. And it falls to the ground. Isn't that lovely? You can see. There it is. It's got a trigger catch, which is a dual coil spring, because of course the springs that they sell aren't sold by certain people who sell Retaliator. So this is only a 12 kilogram spring. The black is the 14, but it is it's still pretty powerful. I mean, with the yellow spring, it still does about 120 flat. What I'm going for right now is accuracy. So I adjusted the crowning here so it goes level. As you know, Retaliator parts tend to go downward. Like you see this barrel, how it's going downward. So if you crown the front here a little bit, you'll level it out. So I had to test fire that a bunch of times. So I've been mainly working on Recons and Rettaliators lately, trying to get them up to date. Okay, so here is a plunger rod assembly. This is not your typical plunger rod assembly. This is an Xplorer composite plunger rod. They're made by Xplorer in Singapore. They're excellent. They're excellent. I'll tell you why. One, they're a little tougher, but there is another reason. It's the fact that you can file this crown when it gets worn down. So, on a plunger tube, put your thumb on this. See that? How much air leakage did you have? I had a little. Let's see. That's still acceptable. As you know, I file this down, and I make it so it's only half right there, so I can pull the plunger rod right out, which is a problem amongst many Retaliators. You really should do this. Otherwise, the plunger rod won't clear it. And if you get from another company where you keep that in, it might be too thin for you. So if you do too good a job here, you'll actually make it so that this sticks when it catches. If you don't, it will fall off. So here's what you do. Okay. You take it. You got three surfaces you got to worry about. The flanging on the bottom. When you start seeing this rounding off like that, yeah, it's time for a new catch, or it's time to file it. The inside of it, the radius, is it curved on the inside, and the very outside here. So here you go. This is it right here. So you just take it, and you file it, and you rotate it at the same time. Tedious job. Takes a while. I've done a whole bunch of these. The one thing I like about these is that you can file them. I've tried so on the Orange Modworks Stage 2 catch. It works, but my preference is the Xplorer one. Their material is just very sandable, and it's very workable. So that's what you do. You just rotate it, and while you're rotating it, and you do it with a flat fine file that has nice square edges on it, to get that inside radius. Because that's one of the surfaces you got to worry about with your catch. And make sure your file is flat. So at the same time of turning it, you got to keep your file flat. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. And it takes a while, but the performance is excellent. Your catch will look great. It will shoot really nice. I also have a zone where it's best fired. That will probably change when I'm done. It's that. So I have this up here, and so when I'm shooting, I know that zone on here is the best. Okay? And so I can turn it to that when I'm firing and I see it prime. When it was going like over here, this was a really bad area where the catch was, and it wasn't keeping catching. It was auto firing and everything. It was real bad. Okay? So I can also use another color like gold to tell me where absolutely not to have the catch. Very important on Retaliator, since the Retaliator plunger rods tend to turn and spin. Okay? So on your high-end Retaliators, and put in mind, a high-end Retaliator is pretty much, you know, it's not going to be the high-end long shot. I'm not trying to be the high-end long shot. If I see a big mountain there, I have to file it like this. That, level it out. But it will do with considerable range. I mean, I think it's a lot better than a lot of your pistol offerings, like your strong arm, Fire Strike, well, Fire Strikes are my primary answer. This is actually a secondary. The R-Spec Retaliator used to be a primary, and then I got into modding single pistols and doing really well with them. I like that old school single pistols, single shot pistols with a new school tip of just freaking brass barrels, 18 kilograms of spring, 20 kilograms of spring. My new one is really great, but it's more like a rifle, even though it's derived from a pistol. It's derived from a shot, from a pistol. It's actually a carbine. It's doing like 28 kilograms. It's really cool. But I got to reinforce the plunger tube, and that's yet another job. But it is HVZ season, and HVZ season I'm probably not going to be able to ultra match. This means, of course, I got to get back in the swing of shooting my Retaliators again. Not too hard. Not too hard. I mean, when I started playing Nerf seriously again in 2008, I mean, I got real good with my Recons. And I had a short stint with Alpha Troopers, Raiders, and Mag Strikes. But my very first pistol that I ever got from Nerf was a sharpshooter from the 1990s, early 1990s. And once you just get used to just shooting stuff single-handed, you never go back. You never do. So then you got a nice crest there. So you can see my filing and machining is really good. It just takes time. I mean, anything I do takes time. Anything I make is expensive. Well, there's good reason for that. Am I expensive as Xplorer? Also a very nice company. In my opinion, they're all set up. They're all laid out, you know. They got good ammo. They got good kits. I really am liking that spirit of Xplorer. Long shot. I wish I had money to buy that. I really do. But I don't, unfortunately. Really nice. Really nice. I'm also, with this, I am lowering the base distance. I'm lowering the base distance where the plunger is. Put in mind, I have 5 of these. Okay? So, I have 5 of these. One of them I've never even put in a blaster. Okay, so being no big deal. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my finger. I'm gonna clean it off. I'm gonna take some grease out of this, throw it there. Voila, there you are. Now, this right here, the plunger tube, okay, you have a back part over here, okay, where you have it, and I want to take that, I want to hold in my plunger tube. I'm going to make a bracket for it, duct tape. This much right here, and basically all I'm making on this is a hold in, just like that. Okay. I don't want my plunger tube to go past a certain distance. Okay, so let's put this in like so. Perfect. It's got a little bit of leeway for it. Perfect. Now, I'm going to take this, I'm going to wrap this in concentric. Okay. I'm going to make sure your hands are really clean. Okay. Big mound of duct tape just right there. I already have one limit hold in, that's defined by that Velcro right there. That is actually not just adhered, it is super glued. Okay, but I'm going to put another. And as you may have seen pictures of the R-Spec where I had springs on the side and buffers over here and everything, and those work pretty good. But now it's time to try something new. So I'm going to take another section of my tape right here. Okay. Put in mind I am borrowing this tape from my dear dad. And I actually couldn't find, so I'm gonna do opposite winding on this right here. I'm gonna level for level and put it on nice and tight. Lots of pull on it, guys. Put a little over so I can crown it just a little bit, like that. Okay. Now eventually this will all get smashed and taken and all that stuff, and that's just the name of the game with Retaliators. Nerf. You gotta redo it. But for a season, it'll work just fine. Cool. You can see it there. Okay. Another trick I do, and this O-ring's fine, I tested it, is I have an O-ring and I have Teflon tape, usually above it and below it. Right now it's just below it. If you got a seal and it checks out, keep it. Okay. But but the best thing to do is 3 below and 2 above. On Orange Model Works kit, you don't have to worry about that much because it's raised up and they usually don't pop out. But this makes it, because this is where a lot of your energy is lost on a Retaliator, is this seal. Make it nice and tight. Ninja Hang on his Retaliator kit's rumored that they're really tight seals, and of course that's our Hang. He knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? That guy does. So there it is. I got it right on the edge where the seal is, right where I want it. Okay. So now I'm going to test this right here. Okay. Make sure any kibbles and bits that ended up are not on your O-ring, are not on your seal. Okay. So. Okay. This is a good sign. There's no way of testing it too. You go like this. Yeah, you got a good seal if that happens. Real nice. Make sure all your Teflon tape stays forward so it doesn't get caught in the O-ring, because it will push air through it. I mean, it's really, really, I mean, I'm very, very, very specific and precise. Okay, so, take this. I got my dual springs right here. Okay. And I'm going to check my catch. Catch looks good. Not a lot of black. See a lot of black or orange shadings, whatever. This is, of course, a lower dive catch, as you should see. When I used to work on this, I used to file these at this point to make it have more bite on the catch. It really does help. I do a lot of extra touches. Anybody who just buys my simple super velocis, which I've sold, I'd say about 20 or 30 super velocis in my day, is really messing out if you don't buy an R-Spec. And yeah, it's a lot of money to buy an R-Spec because there's a lot of work that goes into it, like this high dive holder and stuff like that. But it's worth it. It's just worth it. Okay. So spring position is very important on a Retaliator. You want your top coil in your back over here, and you may notice I have a little fine filing there. Okay. So if you want to file these to have a little bit of a flatness, of course this is not perfectly ground enclosed, but it's close enough. I did that to specify just how much spring closure I have, and I did that for compression reasons, of course. Okay. I have to find my trigger wherever it went. Wherever it ran off to. Okay. And we're gonna close this baby up. It can shoot long darts, and as a matter of fact, I have tested it yesterday with the long darts on there. But for the most part, it's a Stephan shooter. But it is nice to have a blaster system when you're playing with modded stock people, that if you absolutely have to go, and you have to use your normal elite darts, you can always go down. Okay, so here we are. We're closing the blaster. Back first, always, on a Retaliator. Very important. Back first. Okay? Back first. I have taken apart Retaliators probably thousands of times. Retaliators, Recons. I am an expert with one of these blasters. And I'm not just saying that. That's no shit. Now, a lot of people laugh. Huh, well, you know, Retaliators, you know. I don't. I think they're great. They offer the Nerf modder a really, really nice, just handy blaster. I'm usually shooting it in pistol form, but I've also shoot it in rifle form if I'm playing like a Humans vs. Zombie game, for example. If you get that, where it doesn't quite close, it's either your pins to your plunger tube or something else. Let's see. Or it could be the duct tape thing I put in there. It could be. Could be. But never just forcibly close a blaster. Yeah, it is a duct tape thing. Okay? What do you do about that? Well, obviously, if that's the only issue, go ahead and close it. Eventually, your duct tape will conform. Make sure you secure trigger catch and the rear of your blaster first. That is your number one priority. My dad being silly. I was raised around people with a sense of humor. At least that's what my psychiatrist tells me. You want to call it that. Sense of humor. Never mind, never mind. Okay. Alright. So this is good. Now I know that plunger is going to be held in not just by that one, but by the sides too. This is actually a good thing. Bottom case screw important. Although now I don't have the usual priming lock on it. Okay, I don't have the jam door. Okay, and I don't have a lot of things that you normally have to hold in with this screw. This is sort of your foundation screw. It is your longest screw on a Recon and a Retaliator, and you do want it to be secure. Okay, it locks. Now will it stick? Closes up just fine. Nice. Nice. Nice light trigger. Very accurate. Do I have one more dart? Two more. Let's try to hit my gazebo way back there. Should I say my parrot's gazebo? Okay. Still sort of diving a little. It's got a good amount of power to it. Well, until next time, take care. Toodaloo.